Hello, this is Jack Jackson. In this video, we will be seeing how the ancient Romans represented natural numbers, Roman numerals. Ancient Roman numerals. In our previous video in this playlist, we saw that ancient Egyptians used an additive system where they used symbols to represent groupings and groups of 10. The ancient Romans used a very similar system. They also had an additive system, and it also used groups of 10. But they also had symbols for groups of 5 as well. This has the advantage over the Egyptian numbers of reducing the maximum number of repeated symbols from 9 to 4. Instead of using the pictorial hieroglyphs for the symbols, like the Egyptian numerals, the Romans used uppercase letters, which is a little simpler. They listed these on a single line, proceeding from higher valued symbols on the left to lower valued symbols on the right. It's easier to get Roman numerals on the computer since we still use Roman letters today. Simply use Times New Roman or similar type of font to type in these letters. Here are the 7 symbols, letters, used in representing a Roman numerals. So these are actually numbers as well as letters. I represents 1 individual item. V represents a group of 5 individuals. X represents 10 individual items, or 2 groups of 5 combined. L represents 5 groups of 10, or 50 individuals. C represents the combination of 2 groups of 50, 2 L's. The grouping of 10 groups of 10, or a single group of 100 individuals. D represents regrouping 5 groups of 100, resulting in a singles group of 500 individuals. Finally, M represents regrouping of 10 groups of 100, regrouping 2 groups of 500, or a single group of 1,000. Now, when there would be 5 repeated I's, they are replaced by a V. When you would get 2 repeated V's, that could be replaced by an X. 5 X's could be replaced by an L, 2 L's by C, 5 C's by D, and 2 D's by an M. So there's never more than one V, L, or D needed, and there's never more than 4 repeated I, X's, or C's. Okay, at least for numbers less than 6,000, we shouldn't have more than 5 M's. Now it's your turn. Convert the following modern Hindu-Arabic numerals into ancient Roman numerals. Press pause and work these out on yourself. Come back when you're ready to check your answers. Press pause now. Hopefully you took time to work these on your own and are now checking your answers. 132 means one group of 100 represented by a C, 3 groups of 10 represented by the 3 X's, and 2 units, or individual items, represented by the 2 I's. So the Roman numeral for 132 is CXXXII. This is entirely just a grouping in tens in this particular example, so this one is just like the Egyptian numerals but with different symbols. 1675 makes use of the groupings in fives as well. The 1000 is a M. The 6 groups of 100 are further grouped as one group of 500, a D, and the remaining one group of 100, the C. So that's DC. Similarly, the 7 groups of 10s are represented as one group of 50, L, and 2 groups of 10, XX. Finally, there are 5 units, which is represented by V. So 1675 is MDCLXXV. 249 is CCXXXX, and then the 9 we make is VIIII. Notice that this one uses the maximum repetition of 4 symbols that are the same, and it does it twice, both for the X's and the I's. This uses a strictly additive process. Symbols go in decreasing order from left to right. Wait a minute. At this point, some of you are saying, wait, didn't the Romans use IV for 4 instead of 4 I's? I. And didn't they use IX instead of I for 9? And really the answer is, well, no. The Romans never used those with their numerals. The ancient Roman numeral system was strictly additive. However, Roman numerals outlasted the Roman Empire. In fact, Europeans were still using Roman numerals well into the medieval period. They did not start being replaced by Hindu-Arabic numerals, our modern numerals, until around the year 1200 CE. Now think about that a minute. Think about how long Europeans were trying to develop mathematics with the more inefficient Roman numerals. At some point during the early medieval period, Romans made 2 modifications to Roman numerals that took care of 2 problems. They added a subtractive property and a multiplicative property. The subtractive property was added to cut down on the number of repeated symbols, and the multiplicative property was added to allow representation of larger numbers. So ancient Roman numerals were essentially equivalent to Egyptian numerals. The main difference is they added symbols for groups of 5, allowing them to cut down the number of repeated symbols to a maximum of 4 of the same symbol, whereas in Egyptian numerals you could have up to 9 of the same symbol. The symbols are also easier to write than the hieroglyphs. But in the Middle Ages, a subtractive property was added to Roman numerals, allowing further reduction of the maximum number of repeated symbols. This property reduced the maximum number of repeated symbols from 4 to 3. The way it works is they placed a lower valued symbol before, to the left of, a higher number valued symbol. The value of this combination of 2 symbols was the value of the larger valued symbol minus the value of the lower valued symbol. However, this was only allowed in very certain combinations. All of these end up replacing 4 repeated symbols with two different symbols. Notice that these occur where we would use a 4 or 9 in Hindu-Arabic numerals. Okay, so it was only allowed in the following very specific cases. So here we go. IV is then V minus I, or what we would call 4, replacing I. IX would be X minus I, which we would call 9, replacing V, I. Okay. XL is L minus X. That would be, 50 minus 10. That's 40. That replaces 4 X's. Okay. XC is C minus X, okay, or 100 minus 10, which is 90. That replaces an L and 4 X's. CD was allowed. That was D minus C, or 500 minus 100 is 400, replacing 4 C's. CM is M minus C, or 1,000 minus the 100, which is 900. That would be replacing D, C, 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 C. So in each of these cases, here we have 2 symbols where there would have been 5, I guess. And here's 2 symbols where there would have been 4. So in all of these, replace 4 or 5 repeated symbols with 2 symbols. So here are some for you to work. Work out these conversions. Convert the 3 given medieval Roman numerals to Hindu-Arabic numerals, and convert the 3 given Hindu-Arabic numerals to medieval Roman numerals. Press pause, work on them, and press play to return to this video. Press pause now. All right, let's look at the first one. M equals 1,000. CM is 1,000 minus 100, which is 900. XL would be 50 minus 10, which is 40. IX would be 10 minus 1 is 9. And so we add those together, add the 1,000, the 900, the 40, and the 9 together to get 1,949. The next one, the M is 1,000. C is 100 and D is 500. Those are out of order. So it's 500 minus 100 is 400. Then you get an X, another X. So that's two tens. So that's 2 in the tens place. I is 1, V is 5. Those are out of order. So it's 5 minus 1 is 4 for the units. This one here, we get 2 M's. So that's 2,000. D is 500. X and L, let's see, X is 10, L is 50, so that would be 50 minus 10 is 40, so that's a 4 there. And then V is 5, and one more is 6 there. 2,546. Okay, so let's look at this one here. We can start either left to right or right to left. 3,000 is 3 M's. 400, remember if it's a 4 or 9, we're going to use the subtractive property. So the 4 should be a 500 minus a 100, so that's going to be a C, then a D. The 900 is going to be a 50 plus a 4 more. I mean, no, a 9 is going to be a 100 minus 10. So that's going to be a C minus an X, so it'd be a XC. And a 7 is a 5 plus 2 more, so it's going to be a VII. So it's M, 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 C, D, X, C, VII. 1,689, 1,000 is an M. 600 is going to be a 500 and a 100, so it's going to be a DC. 8 is an 80 here in our place value system. 80 is going to be a 50 and 3 more, so that's going to be an LXXX. And a 9, you go up to a 10 and take 1 back, so it's going to be an IX. 2,000 is 2 M's. A 9 here, you got to go up to 1,000 and take 100 back, so that's going to be a CM. A 4 is going to be, you go up to a 50 and take 10 back, so that's going to be an XL. And then you got the 3 I's at the end. Roman numerals actually are still in use today, at least for some things. Can you think of some things that we use Roman numerals for? List some of them. Press pause and come back when you have your list. Here are some of the uses of Roman numerals today. There are probably others. In outlines or numbered lists, such as this one, is one way. Numbering events, such as Super Bowls or Olympics. In dates, particularly copyrights dates, like in a movie or a book. And on some clocks. However, there's an interesting thing that happens on clocks a lot of times, not always, but sometimes, is notice that the 4, see, look at this clock here, I, not IV for 4. But yet, when we get to 9, it is IX. So they use the subtractive property for 9, but not for 4. And I'm not sure why that is, but a lot of clocks are that way. You might also see an IV on a clock as well, but 4 I's is not uncommon there. And did you remember the most important one? Hey, you can't say my name without it. My name is Jack L. Jackson II. It's got my Roman numeral right there in my name. Also, a lot of other folks have that as well. Now, that was the subtractive property. Now, in medieval Roman numerals, they also had a multiplicative property. So with or without the subtractive property, Roman numerals have the same fundamental problem that Egyptian numerals have. Because there are a finite number of symbols, the additive system requires an excessive number of repeated symbols for very large numbers. So the largest value symbol in Roman numerals is M, representing 1,000. Representing numbers 10,000 or larger would require 10 or even more repeated symbols. So in the medieval period, Romans added a multiplicative property to Roman numerals in order to address this issue. In the multiplicative property, a horizontal bar is added or placed over a Roman numeral to indicate that it has been multiplied by 1,000. So here are three examples of Roman numerals using the multiplicative property. The first example, the IX, which is typically 10 minus 1 is 9. However, the bar over it indicates that this is multiplied by 1,000. So now this part right here stands for 9,000. Then you proceed with the rest of the number. 2C's is 200, 2X's is 20, and VI is 5 plus 1 is 6. Similarly, the next number, the CXLII, let's see what that would be. That would be 100. XL is 42 here for the two I's. So that's 142,000 because it has a bar over it. And then this gives you the last part here. CM is 1,000 minus 100 is 900. L is 50, and then two I's makes one there. Makes two. And finally, the last one, you could have multiple of these bars. So here we have IV, and a bar multiplies by 1,000, another bar multiplies by another 1,000, which makes this IV being 4. The two bars turns it into 4 million. The CV is 105, but the bar turns it into 105,000. And the CIV is 104. Addition of Roman numerals is very similar to the addition of Egyptian numerals. Please add these two Roman numerals. Do this without converting to modern numerals. Work this like a Roman would. Press pause now. We can start by just putting the symbols together for the two numbers. If you noticed, I've taken all the blue ones and all the green ones and sort of put them in place here together. Now we just look for any places that we can regroup. Let's say we start on the left here. IXI, that's 10 minus 10. 10 minus 1 plus 1 is back to 10, so that can just be replaced by a single X. That leaves the two I's here. Now let's see what we got here. L, and notice we have 5 X's. 5 X's is an L, which put with the other L makes a C, right? We think, yeah, so it's 50, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, that's 100. That's a C. There's that C. The CMC, kind of like the IXI, this cancels out to just an M there. And then we have these two M's. So the final answer is MMMCCXII. There's no other regroupings that we can do, so this is the final answer. All right, how about subtraction? Perform this subtraction in Roman numerals without converting to modern numerals. Work it out yourself. Come back when you're ready. Press pause now. So notice that this one requires some ungrouping, the opposite of what we did before with addition. First, we notice that we can replace the X with an IXI over here. So like this X right here can be replaced with IXI. And this C can be replaced with an L and 5 X's. And this M can be replaced by a CMC. Now, why do we need to do that? Well, because this line here is the first number, and the third line here is the second number that we're subtracting from it. we had IX, which basically is 9 units, and we had to take that away from or cancel it out with 3 units. There's not enough. Okay, so we need to break apart the next symbol over this X right here to get us some more units. Okay, and similarly for the others here. The L was our tens, that's 50 or 5 tens. Okay, and we didn't have enough tens here, so we once we broke that one apart, there were no tens. So to get the 5 tens canceled out, we need to break that C, which is 100, apart into 50 and some tens. Okay, and then similarly over here for this one. So I've sort of lined these up so you can see the canceling. That IX cancels that IX, and what's left? I. 4 I's is written as IV if we're in the medieval period. If we were in the ancient Romans, this would just been left as 4 I's there. Here we have the L and the X canceled, leaving 3 X's. That C is still there. This CM is canceled, leaving that C. So we end up with 2 C's in our answer. One of these M's canceled, leaving the other M. So ultimately, we have like symbols being canceled out, and the resulting amount at the end is our final answer, MCCXXXIV. So this gives us a quick introduction to Roman numerals. In the next video, we'll see how the Babylonians represented natural numbers.